looking at the Kid Rock video,
uh,
one that you sent me. This one.
hilarious.
Yeah, but why he shot up Bud Light?
Yeah. I love this guy.
Have a terrific day. Yeah. I'm sitting in corporate Australia at the moment, and
Okay.
just allocated some time to have a chat with you. Well, I mean, I know it. I don't want to turn this into a Trump special, but at the moment, this whole week, that's all that's been going on, man. First of all, what's
uh,
with this whole Kid Rock thing? Why did he shoot up Bud Light? Kya hua kya?
so it was instigated by uh, this thing. So there's this trans activist, Dylan Mulvaney,
Okay.
and
Bud Light partners with. Are you
so
serious? So she's a
yeah,
spokesperson for Bud Light.
yeah. So they paid this guy or this trans person money to advertise Bud Light, and they started a new Bud Light that with the face of a trans person on it, and that kind of made Mr. Kid Rock, you know, upset, and then he made this video.
So hold on. It says 365 days. So I'm thinking they're gonna have 365 different kind of cans or something or celebration for.
Yeah, so it's basically you know, Budweiser has a new what do you say, brand ambassador who's a transgender
Hmm,
person. So that pissed off Mr. Kid Rock, who has his own following,
hmm.
and he has something to say.
I can't hear anything. It happened last time as well. I think there's a video that we were watching with me last time on the last
Uh,
episode. No audio came through for that one.
oh,
So basically, just to describe for everybody who's listening or watching this is Kid Rock is like, I'm feeling a bit frisky. He pulls out his gun and he shoots all the Bud Light cans. And he says, "Have a good fucking day," and he shows the middle finger, and obviously he's wearing the MAGA cap. So,
yeah,
and this is that beer,
yeah.
365 days, 365 days of what celebration or something like that they're doing, and but why? No, what doesn't make sense is, okay, you got some spokesperson or whatever, but why you put the spokesperson on the can? Is that the same
Well,
person? Trans? It's a trans man or trans woman?
trans woman.
Okay, so okay, so why is this person on a can? That I don't understand.
It's just, how celebrities are on cans, they do brand,
Marketing, whatever. Yeah.
yeah, the brand sponsorship or something.
The world is going crazy, bro. Today I was here at I met one of my colleagues at work, and we were talking about Elon Musk, and she was talking about how there's a lot of greenwashing going on, and a lot of the products that she bought, they were greenwashed, and now she realizes it. And I'm not sure if she still used to use those products or not, but I told her, look, I mean, if you think, Elon Musk is someone who's greenwashing, the whole idea itself is greenwashing. I mean, everybody's doing it. Everybody's
Yeah.
doing greenwashing. And the environment thing is that if you, and there was another person I just met, someone on the floor, and they also work in the same company, but in different area. And he said he just recently met me because I was, making all this Nespresso coffee. I don't have Nespresso coffee at home, but they had free Nespresso coffee. I was like, fuck, why not, right? So I started making it for him, and I made him a cup, and then since then he and me started talking, and he was saying there, and he was like, well, if you look at the role models in society that exist, Elon Musk is not a bad role model for your kid, compared to some gangster or some movie star who's I think you understand where I'm going, right? At the moment
Yeah.
there's not enough men in society to be role models. So Elon Musk, yeah, he might not be perfect, but he's not a bad role model to have for young boys. And she's like, well, he's got a lot of money, he needs to share and everything. I was like, well, you have to understand, right? It's entrepreneurs who actually create wealth, for everybody, not for themselves. I said, like, you saw what they were doing to the Starbucks CEO, right? So I like Bernie Sanders. I think he comes from a good place, but ultimately he's a socialist, right? And his whole campaign about attacking billionaires is which the Starbucks CEO pointed out is that they got this moniker. He actually used that term very well, moniker. So at the moment, what they're doing is they're single-handedly pointing out people who are rich because they worked hard and they made the American dream, and now they're being punished for living that American dream. And he
Right.
talks about, like, I came from nothing. Like, I had nothing in my life. I came from a very poor background, humble background, as I would say, and he's now built this empire, right? And that empire is employing people around the world. There are people who got jobs. So for as much as they might say that yes, there are unionizing issues, the, the whole thing is about that his workers try to unionize, and at some level, he might deny it, but the CEO himself, the one that is questioning at Senate, he was involved. I have pure belief, as Bernie Sanders and his peers do, that he was involved in stopping unionization. But the idea is that when you're in corporate America, I'm not against people unionizing, but in corporate America, if you force people, I saw on Twitter a very good cartoon today, right? If you force people, like if you force minimum wage, that's what they were doing. They wanted minimum wage and they wanted their rights, whatever. That's fine. You want to do that, and the company's trying to stop it. The problem when the government gets involved and starts taking sides with the employees rather than people who are running the company, that is where the problem becomes, right? If you have a system where both are equally heard, then okay, we can talk. But what they did is that the government has gone, all right, we need to unionize. But there's all these other Starbucks around the world. They're not, they have problems of their own. There are union issues, and America can't go out there, right? But what they can do is try to get these people fair wages or whatever. But the problem is that that whole thing, the idea of Starbucks is that I'm gonna give you coffee in a cup. I'm gonna try to keep it as cheap as possible so you can take this dirty slosh and drown it, put it down your throat, right? That's
Right.
the idea of the value it's providing, right? Now, when the government gets involved and starts saying that no, it needs to be like this or that, what's going to happen to the coffee? The price is going to go up. There's no more value in it. The people who are actually buying Starbucks coffee, they see some sort of value. That value is going to diminish. It's still,
Yeah.
Starbucks not going to go out of business. It's going to stay. But thing is, that's the problem. The whole idea of the American dream is that it's a capitalist society. You have to let entrepreneurs do their thing. If you meddle in the way they're doing it and start finger pointing at them and saying, "Oh, you're rich, you need to pay more tax," it's bullshit. I mean, Elon Musk is, I think, last year and the year before, and even this year is going to be the highest taxpayer in the world in the history of corporate America. He's gonna pay more tax than Rockefeller, bro, the richest motherfucker of all time in corporate America, right? So I mean, and then they still get called all these names, right? So what happens is for our kids who have no role models, yes, there are sports role models, there are role models in each sector of society. If you want to pick someone like what do you call when they look at Steve Jobs, right? For some reason, they don't finger point at him that he did not do any of these initiatives that Elon Musk and all these guys did.
No.
But for some reason, he's a hero. You know,
Because see that's I always say this. Steve Jobs didn't do any of the greenwashing stuff.
yeah,
Then all he did was make an amazing product,
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
that people were, without knowing, wanted to get into it. They wanted to have it. The competition had to keep up with it. Um, I remember getting the first iPhone, and my dad was like, "What the hell? Why do you spend so much money on an iPhone?" And back then it was like $500,
Yeah.
so it was a huge amount because phones were for like 200, $300, right? Except for those special edition phones for like, $1,000.
Well, now our
And
normal phone is 2 grand,
I know.
fifteen
So,
hundred. Yeah.
I told him, I'm like, in a year, you will ask me to go buy one iPhone for you because you wanna FaceTime or do a video chat with your family in India. And that's exactly what happened. So Steve Jobs was a CEO that was an innovator and he didn't care about what people thought, didn't care about what the market thought. He just came out, took risks, bought new products in which he knew was going to work. And he had a
Mm.
nice base of a software, ecosystem, which was the Mac OS. So,
Yeah.
like I remember when we used to make Apple Hackintoshes,
Oh yeah,
you know,
man. I mean, the software was so good that you used to use PC for um.
Hackintoshing before boot camp,
Yeah.
and also like I remember messing with Linux GUIs to make it look like Mac.
Mac,
So,
man. Those were the days.
so,
Yeah.
the base, the software was the base,
Yeah.
and they were making money on hardware. So it was a closed economy. So similarly with Elon Musk too is the same, right? It's like he is partly greenwashing, right? Like he's like, oh, we need to do this, we need to be sustainable, but at the same time he's like, okay, but let's not close down oil fields and you know oil
The
oil
oil-based
consumption.
economy, yeah, it still needs to be there
The,
because
we,
I mean,
it's
this whole thing is built using oil. I mean, oil and cobalt or whatever. But thing is, there is more oil in this than wind, solar, and renewable energy in this, right? So,
yeah,
but the thing, bro. Again, when I was talking to these colleagues of mine, right? There was a good point. Like she said, oh well, like you still are you running these Tesla cars and they're running off coal power plants or whatever. And then this guy said, well, you can't blame him for the lack of infrastructure just because the government has decided not to move to solar or whatever, right? You can't blame him for it. So what should he do? Start building, making cars? And then she was like, well, I love the product Starlink, but the problem with that is that it's it's made all astronomical um, equipment on land unusable because there's all these satellites in the sky and all that. Like, it's like, what are you talking about, man? The satellites that Starlink is putting up in the sky, they're not that many compared to already the garbage and debris that is floating in fucking space, right?
you agree on that.
There's a lot of garbage in space. No, no, there's a
I
lot
know.
of garbage in space. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but the
That's
thing is that,
that
yeah,
that
but
that would go into a different conversation.
yeah, but that's another
Wow.
thing, right? Have you seen these images where they take a pixelated image and when they zoom in, it using AI, it actually becomes super clear, exactly like how it's in the movies. You know, back in the day in the 90s, like Enemy of the State, that Gene
Yeah.
Hackman and Will Smith movie, right? They're trying to zoom in on some CCTV footage they have, but it's very blurry and grainy and pixelated. So when they zoom in, it automatically, does some
Mm.
AI processing, or I mean, now we are doing AI processing, but back then, whatever Gizmo, Tony Scott style of direction that was happening back then, they would turn that pixelated image into this sharp image, and that technology was being used by the no such agency, and all these other agencies, right? And we used to think, man, it's only in the fucking movies, but now they're doing it, or it's
Yeah.
kind of a fulfilling prophecy. You make a fictional thing, and that fictional
Yeah.
thing powers the reality. We are living in a simulation. So
Yeah.
if you think, I mean, we or maybe we are creating a simulation. You see, we are moving from reality into a self-fulfilling simulation. You know what I mean? We are creating. It's like what Morpheus says to Neo, that we have built um, what do you call a cage for our mind. A reality for our mind, right? So all the minds are kept that. So the idea is that maybe what's happening in reality is that we are powering the simulation ourselves. We are building a simulation in which we will eventually step into. And then people in that
Speaking
simulation will be thinking about, hey, are we in a simulation?
speaking of which, John Wick, the movie.
Did you watch it?
I just the series itself. No, I haven't. I want to.
What about it?
So, in a way, because I don't watch that many movies anymore because nothing excites me. Uh, but I was like, I'll give John Wick a chance. And when I watched it, and I was like, man, this film is deep as fuck.
The
You
first or the
know,
second, or all of them?
all of them.
The
So
first one is actually, yeah,
I think
yeah,
I think I watched the first and second. I still have to
yeah.
watch three
I
and
the
four.
best is, I still think, the second one. And in
Okay.
most scenarios, like most directors, the second one is the best one. So I feel like Top Gun Maverick. The reason it's amazing is people forgot it's the second movie, bro. Hollywood is great at making the second movies. Godfather 2, Return of the Jedi, the one where he says, I'm your fucking father. I think that's the second one. And then The Dark Knight, right? Aliens 2, it's better than Aliens 1, actually. Um, I mean, I think most movies, apart from Kill Bill 2, which I don't really think is the second part, I see it as
Yeah.
one long fucking movie, so let it go. But and even Matrix Reloaded, I think you and me in our youth we watched that movie in the cinemas. We went to watch the second one. वो सर के ऊपर से गई थी. It went over my head back then. I'm still not sure whether the second is better than the first one or not, but I think the first one is definitely still the best one for me.
First one,
Same thing with
all the way.
and yeah, and then Top Gun Maverick, same thing. Um, Seconds
Yeah,
are
but
kind of in a way are good,
but
and the third is where is the hard part. Getting the third one to be perfect is really hard. So with John Wick, I've not seen the fourth one. I'll watch it and let you know, and probably by then you watch it as well. I came to John Wick also very late, just like you. So I came to John Wick when the third one came out, or the second
uh,
one came out. I can't remember. Yeah, they announced the third one. The third one was about to come out, and then I said, okay, let's watch John Wick. Everybody's talking about it. But yes, John Wick is deep for an action movie. It is deep. So if you compare the philosophy and the
it is the
overall,
Matrix.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It is in a way. It is in a way. It is set in its own world. No, but if you look at the philosophy of John Wick, the thing is this: they don't have a plan, bro. You can clearly tell. Like I watched the first one again um, 2 days ago,
Hmm.
and I've only seen half of it. And I was paying a lot of attention to all the things they've set in that world, and I realized is that in a way he is the whole thing is a simulation. Like in reality, the first one, because of the budget constraints or whatever, they set it in that world, and they made some what do you call in some of the plot points there are some loopholes and everything, but then they, instead of trying to address it or try to close them, they opened it up. They said, fuck it, we will just embrace that whole thing. And they went with that whole thing. It's got its own separate universe. Everything is different. They had more budget. So they started creating this outrageous kind of, fight choreography, gung fu, as you want to call it. And, but the idea, I think, is that John Wick, the character, is stuck in a perpetual cycle of violence, you know, and it's like it's a more fancier and a more sexy version of a history of violence. David Cronenberg की जो film है.
Yeah.
In that one he has a life of violence and he's living his life somewhere else, and violence comes looking for him. You see, and pulls him back into the world of violence, right? And it's a very open-ended kind of movie. It does not give you any. It's not preachy at all. So when you watch it again, if you have time, I only watched it once, but the weird part was Bondu, right? He watched it the first time and he got it straight away. For a guy who doesn't watch that many movies, or maybe because that's the thing, right? He doesn't watch that many movies. So to him, it came very strongly. So when he watched the movie, he said, "Ustad, I really liked the movie. You know what I really liked about the movie was it does not tell you whether violence is a good thing or a bad thing. It just
Yeah.
tells you that violence is." So I think um, John Wick is a bit more obviously commercial. It has to be. But if you think about it, it's very rare. It's a lightning in a bottle kind of a thing for Keanu Reeves. If you want to study what, um, as a professional, not only in acting, in any field, you want to continue down the path of excellence, Keanu Reeves is someone who's a good framework for it. He, got lucky, did Matrix, okay, capitalized on the three movies, and then after that, his career just kind of over time just went down, down. He had string of box office failures. He did all these weird movies,
He did The Matrix.
Yeah, yeah, he did all. Yeah, you're correct. So he did all these different movies. They didn't pan out at all. But thing is that he put his hand up for anything that he could give it a shot. Like he did comedy, he did horror. Not horror. I would say thriller. Like stuck in a house with a crazy person, and they kind of make him a hostage. That kind of a. So he did all this string of different kind of genres before he landed on John Wick. And people who came to him, John Wick, nobody wanted it, and he sponsored it. You see, so he told the story that I would do the movie. He was the producer. He told the story that I am happy to do the movie if you greenlight it. So he was not supposed to play the main role, and there was a stigma against stunt choreographers that they cannot be good directors. They're not good at they're good at working on a single scene and making it great, but putting bunch of scenes together to create a movie, they're not good at it. That's what the stigma against these two stunt fighters. And Donnie Yen, who's in the fourth movie, I just saw a small clip of him. He said that he's worked in so many kung fu and all those action movies. It's the first time he's met a director after a long time. From the time in the 90s, he started in the 90s, and he's done 300 something fucking movies. He said after a long time, in 20 years something, I've met a director. When you talk action with him, he understands it. He understands what I want to do, and I understand him. He understands me. I think that's the great part about a director who knows action. He's saying, well, I've worked with a lot of directors who do not understand action, how stunt works and how you have to work with a team, all that shit. If you look at Jackie Chan, his amazing movies that he did back in the day, is because he had an amazing team of people like who would get shot and work with him and do all the stunt work with him. So they'll play all the bad guys and he'll be the guy who will work. So John Woo basically created that format. You would be an action hero and they would have a team around you that would continuously work with you. That's what the same thing they did with Matrix. Same guys, it's always the same guys who are basically getting beaten up. So that creates that chemistry and everything and that action, that bullet ballet or whatever you want to do. They did the same thing in the John Wick movies after a long time. They didn't have that before. It's the same guy who keeps getting hit, you know, keeps getting shot. It's the same people. So that's why it's so fluid, the whole thing. So I think that um and same thing I think with Tom Cruise. If you look at Tom Cruise, he works with Christopher McQuarrie, Usual Suspects wala, no, the guy who wrote Usual Suspects, same guy.
Mm.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the same people again and again. So that's why I think that in any industry you need a team. You need a great team to. Um, Actually, I'll steal this from my boss in the company where I work. He's really high up. He said that individuals. He said individuals are great, but teams are the ones who win championships. So he's a very hardcore soccer, British football, you know, fan. So he took it from there. He said teams win championships. So the idea is if you want to win a cup or whatever, it's going to be teamwork. Like, a bunch of individuals do the great thing. And I think the same thing applies to government, same thing applies to movie making, anything, I think.
Yeah,
Unless you're
and a
some,
heist.
yeah. And a heist, robbing a bank. But coming to, let's make it a bit more spicy. Okay, I mean, I wanted to talk about the whole Trump situation at the moment. I was not
Oh
planning
my
to talk about
God.
Trump at all. I was
Oh
going to
boy.
talk about before I moved to Trump. I had a
All
list of
eyes
things I
on
want to talk
me.
about. Uh,
He's a top. He's a thug right now.
bro, the amount of what's happening with the protests in France? People don't want to work, huh? Or do you, or do you think, first of all, is it a good thing that they've increased the pension age, or do you think it's a bad thing
I think the fact that people have to work till they are 65, uh,
to get pension?
and get pension. Mm, I mean, if they want to do it, they should. They can. The same person can be like, I got my pension now. I'm starting a small business. But the pension is never enough to do that. So you're making the person older and older before that person can stop working and getting a pension. It's just economics, man. The government is bankrupt,
Hmm.
and
They
the
want to
whole
keep the money for longer.
the whole economy is filled with government people.
Hmm.
You gotta think it that way. It's people working for the government. The government wants them to work more, the higher ups, and these guys say, "Fuck that, we don't want to do it." It's a perpetual shit. It's a big government wanting more people in the government to run the country, and those people are not now said that, hey, if you have to work a little bit more so that then you will get your pension, because we can't afford to let you guys go earlier because we don't have money. The fact is they don't have money. They can't
Hmm.
create more money. If they create more money, it will go into a hyperinflation situation. So it's not just happening in Canada, in France, it's happening everywhere. It's
Hmm.
it's countries that don't have protests are still in hyperinflation. People are still getting paid high. They have to get paid high, and it's perpetual. It will just keep on. It's the same conversation with the Starbucks thing that you started with. It's like, we can increase the minimum wage, but the minimum wage will increase the
Kill
value
jobs.
of,
Yeah, yeah. Or they'll
and
get
it
rid of
will,
that staff. Get rid of that much staff because the cost is going up, and then they use the rest of them to do all the work. So
and then the
ultimately, it
staff will
doesn't
be
end up anywhere.
unemployed. The biggest problem is, you know, there's a war going on between private
Yeah,
and public, you know,
yeah. Sorry,
and
keep talking. I'm just looking for like this meme that I found on minimum wage. Last night I was in bed and just going through
minimum wage
some.
is the most
Yeah,
idiotic thing.
it's the most idiotic thing, man. Yeah, I mean, I used to
Because
work. I used to be that guy who want minimum wage. When I was a worker, I'm still a worker. Um, I used to look for minimum wage. I was like, oh man, it's a good thing. My wage will go up. But in reality, it doesn't help. It's bullshit. Yeah. So you were saying?
so the thing is, I see these videos online of welders. Yeah. So there's a young welders going to the shop, and the guy goes, "Show me what you can do." And people weld, and he checks the weld, and is like, "What do you think you deserve?"
Hmm.
It's like, so a humble person's like, if I make $15, you know what? I'll give you $35 an hour. I can't see shit.
You can't see shit.
No,
Is that too
can't see.
bright or?
No. Maybe share link. It's too. I can't make it out. Can't make it out. You gotta be too close. Yeah, it's just I can see boat, magic boats, something. Anyways, share it.
Yeah, I'll share it. So basically, what's it doing is that this here is minimum wage, and these are the houses, right? So what is the perceived idea? Perceived idea is this that if you have minimum wage, the water these are houses on a slope, and this is water on a what do you call at the bottom there. So What you're doing is
Yeah.
you're increasing the sea level. You're bringing it up by doing minimum wage. And what the idea is that the perceived idea is that the houses will start floating. But in reality, what is happening is when you increase the wage, the houses are underwater. That's what's
Yeah.
going to happen,
Yeah.
right? So it basically those houses are going to sink. It doesn't do anything. You can't. Those houses will not be able. You'll not be able to support that many houses. Basically,
Yeah, according to
household income.
Austrian School of Economics, it's all bullshit. You can't
Yeah,
have it. Minimum wage. So here's another conspiracy. So minimum wage is actually a lobby from these big businesses so that smaller businesses can't compete with bigger businesses. Because a
mm,
big business can always pay a minimum wage. That caps it. It
correct.
doesn't go like, okay, he's a good worker. Minimum wage is, let's say there is no minimum wage. Uh, if you don't pay this guy that much money, the competition will pay this person that much money and then he will go, you know. So when you have minimum wage, what happens is this person knows, oh, until unless I'm manager or I'm becoming a middle management person, I will go to this company or that company. I'm gonna get the same amount of money.
It's true.
But a new business can never hire minimum wage. I'll give you the best example in Canada. I was doing some fabrication work, and the person I gave the work for, he charged me around $175 an hour to fabricate something very small, simple, and easy. After fabricating, he sent me a bill of like $3,000, $4,000, and I was like, "The fuck?" Okay, and then I found an issue in the, you know, some things were not lined up. And I went to that person, and you know what this person says? Like, you talking to me is increasing your bill. And I'm like, you messed up.
Yeah.
You messed up the work. Me complaining about it, you're gonna charge me for that?
Mm,
I would never go to that person again. But the reality is the reason he has to do that is because the taxes are so much, the rents are
yeah.
so much, that
Yeah.
he cannot afford to spend time even communicating with the
And
client.
inflation is only gonna make it worse.
So there's no creativity. They just want to get the shit done. They have to pay high wages. Everything's high because they have to make enough money to pay their mortgages, which is 65-70% of their income. And people working for them have their homes and they have to pay 60-70% of their income to their mortgage or rent. uh, they have to charge high, they have to work more, and they have to become, assholes, and they cannot, and then lose business from a potential, client coming with more work. Now I will
Yeah.
never
And
go to this guy.
correct. And inflation also drops the value of quality in product and service as well. For example, um, I was listening to someone. I think it was Saifuddin Amos. He said barber shops, they're popping up everywhere. He's saying, but the quality of hairdressing in those barber shops is shit because they're
Right.
doing these they- they're doing these courses that are 6 months long or 3 months long. They get a certification that allows them to start opening. They go to the bank at very cheap line of credit. I mean, used to be cheap. I don't know, but now I mean it could reverse. The way things are going, and
Banks would
the
not
money
give
printing
a
was
new
it won't be
business
for long.
money.
Yeah, so banks were throwing money back in the day. If you wanted to start your own barbershop business, you work for a year for someone else. They will loan you the money. You go out, open a barber shop. He was specifically talking about barber shops that back in the day, barbers used to work for 10 years, 12 years. They used to have their own seat, like in that Ice Cube movie, Barbershop. If you watch that, it actually tells you that um, these people who work in these barbershops, like in America, uh, these people had 10 years plus experience, 15 years, 20 years of experience. So when you walk in there, they have long-term clients and they give you that service. Consistency is there, and they actually really know how to work your face and your hair. Where these new people, they've been working on wigs or whatever, and they've had yes a little bit experience, and they're very machine-based. They don't use the art of the scissors and the comb because that's the whole idea of the barber, right? I mean, if I wanted to use machine, I could get, I mean, get any person to do it, right? Why do I need you, right? Yes, you need clippers and everything for certain
But they still
fancy
charge you
head
high
work, but they still charge you
because
high,
because they
and it's
have to pay
quicker.
rent.
Correct. So he was talking about that how these barbershops are popping up everywhere, and the reason is just a scam. I'm not saying that these people are not adding value, but the amount of value they're adding for the amount of money you're giving them is ridiculous. Like you get a haircut nowadays for I think $50, $50, $45 in Australia.
Wow,
I'm not talking about a high-end barbershop. I'm talking a mid-end barbershop. A barbershop
wow,
itself is a mid-end. It's not low-end. Yeah, mid-end. $35 for a cut without any styling, and then 45, 50 depending on if you want to get your beard done. $25, bro. I have to do this shit myself.
wow.
You know, and and working in corporate. I mean, the big companies. You're right. The amount of money they can throw at individual contributor. There are two types: individual contributor, IC as we call them, and then there's management. People who lead a group of 4 or 5 people or bigger. Leads, the amount of money they get paid here, there are people who are general managers in smaller companies who are getting paid the same kind of money. The amount of money an individual contributor is getting paid, people who just come in, do their task, do their work. Yes, good quality work, but the amount of salary they're getting paid in Australia, the same amount of money managers are getting paid in smaller companies. So if you put minimum wage in place, that definitely kills the small companies. I remember after working in a big corporate job, I was talking to one of our family friends, and I told he's much older than me, so I said, what do you think about me going back into a smaller company? I have a boss. I used to have a boss. He was very nice to me, and he used to work for a big corporate Australian company, mobile company, and he started his own business. And he called me and he said, "Hey Omar, how about you would like to come and work for me?" And I told him like the problem is that sorry to say, I would love to work for you, but you can't afford me. Not because I'm amazing. It's just the amount of money I'm getting paid here in this job. I come to you. You have a company of 20, 30 people, and within that, how much you're going to be able to afford to pay me? Plus, I get bonuses. I can work from home and all these things. I don't have to work extra hours. So thing is that you go into that comfort zone as well when you go into these big corporate companies. That that reduces, that takes away the entrepreneurship away from the population. So already we are living in a time where entrepreneurs are very less. And if someone wants to, basically we need more role models, and role models are mostly going to come out of entrepreneurship. And because you got to understand, sports celebrities, they are rare. There's one in a million. They are not really ideal role models. Steve Jobs is not an
Hmm.
ideal role model. Even Elon Musk is not an ideal role model. But the idea is okay, what if I wanted to start my own company? I would go down the path of how Elon Musk or someone like him goes. Like Elon Musk would say, like, I every day I just want to be less wrong than I am before. You can take that philosophy and apply it to any small business. It'll work. Steve Jobs said a lot of things that are like, up in the air. Oh, customer does not know what they want. We need to make things that we think they will want.
But he
Normal
was
company
right.
can't do that. He's right, but thing is that only it'll work for Apple
But
in Apple scenario.
can I say something? Normal companies do that. Smaller companies do that. That's how when smaller companies become much bigger than other companies because they're disruptors. Because they understand, as of now, the consumers don't know what they want, or they consumers have a problem, but the solution that they are looking for is wrong. So the solution that a newer company can come up with by disrupting the market would basically make the product popular and the company bigger. That's why you have these Kickstarter companies coming up a lot. A lot of companies I've seen now that are coming up as Kickstarters. There's a company, I think in British Columbia. They make uh, portable generators, battery based. They do uh, portable battery based refrigerators. So these are products that you bigger companies are not making, and even if they're
It's a
making
niche.
it,
Yeah, but until China comes, someone takes that Kickstarter
but
product, makes a
no,
copy of it,
no,
and yeah,
but all those Kickstarters are being built in China.
yeah,
They make a video, take all the money from people, give them a discount. They don't get a share of the company. They just get a product at a cheaper price, and they take that money, they build a product in China and start shipping them out. And once that product gets word of mouth, people start, buying stuff from them. Oh, this company, yeah, I used this company's this product, it was good. And then they become bigger and bigger. So I think I think that end of the day, if there's free market, there's more chance of businesses to be daring, innovative, and but the economic situation is so bad that it's impossible for that team to come in one place, you know? Like you said, it's not the individual, it's the team, right? Yeah, you need a good team. To get a good team, to get that machine working, it's very hard because everybody's cost of living is so high.
yeah.
It's just impossible until or unless somebody is willing to um, take a chance, take a risk, is already in a comfortable position and wants a challenge. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm a prime example of that because that's what I do. I'm always on the edge. I started my career in filmmaking and cinematography, and I was buying old lenses back in 2012, 2011, knowing where digital cinematography was going, and how sensors were becoming very same because every camera is the same, even if you
Mm.
have the best cinema camera. So how do you differentiate your look is by putting different glass on it, different filters on it. Obviously, lighting plays a part, and you know, just the basic creativity of it all. But the tool itself, you need to have different options. So I started buying lenses that were built in, like I had a set of lens that was used in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I have a set of lens that was used in The Godfather, you know. So these lenses were
Birdman.
built in 1950s. The Birdman too, yes, I have that, but that's a newer glass. That's more like a future classic. I know this lens is gonna be a future classic. Uh, but we are at the point where cinematography has become so stagnant and like nobody cares. Everything looks specifically now old.
Hmm.
That you know, we are at the at the peak of how can you make it something look different? So I have a set of lens that were like Canon lenses, which were used in the Aliens, but
Hmm.
those lenses were actually still lenses, which were rehoused for cinema, and those were used in Aliens. I think it was a James Cameron,
Um,
and
Aliens or
the
Alien?
f-
I think it's Ridley Scott.
really the first one.
The first one is Ridley Scott. So he was himself advertising based. He had a
So
background as like David
he
Fincher.
used that lenses on Super 35 cameras, but those lenses were built for full frame sensors, like full frame film. And because digital cinema, you don't need to buy film, so shooting a full frame film wasn't expensive because you just need a camera with a full frame sensor. So that lenses came back in fashion because of, oh,
Sensors
we
are
need a vintage
becoming
lens.
better.
Vintage lens that is full frame. Not many out there. Wait, the Canon ones? Okay, then people figured out, oh, so they were basically still lenses. So I bought lenses for like $1,500 back in the day. Now, if you go and buy the same lens, without rehousing it, without making it cinematic, or like um, housing it for cinema, so it's easy to pull focus and do witness marking for the camera assistant. So when the actor is acting, he's in focus
You
and
mean doing
focus pull
real
level.
acting?
Yeah. So uh, so those lenses now cost $15,000, $20,000. Just the still lens, which was bought for 1,500 bucks, $1,000.
Hmm.
So in terms of like, as a business, and then what happens is because you are an innovator, a disruptor, uh, the people who aren't, but they have more pull in the industry due to, let's say, connections, business dealings, discounts that they do. They try to copy you and buy the same thing that you have, and then they get the business. So it's a perpetual thing. So innovators always live on the edge. They always want to take a chance, and I love doing that because I can't be like, yeah,
Can't be
like
working for
if
someone
I
else,
see,
bro. That's for sure.
no,
No,
I mean, everybody's got to serve somebody, right? But it's not like you need to know your value and you need to create value where the people don't perceive value, and then you will get your rewards. And sometimes, and check this out, sometimes it's worse being first because you're so ahead of time that people do not realize the value.
yeah,
So I can have a set of lens which would sit there, or I can come up, like I remember with me, I was always shooting noir. I love noir. Like, I like shadows and like Rembrandt style lighting. So, my Gordon Willis is my, favorite cinematographer. He did The Godfather,
Prince of Darkness. Hmm.
right? And so I used to do that back in the day, and producers used to say, I don't get it, because they were used to like everything being lit, like a fucking soap opera. And now you see fucking like movies like John Wick,
Yeah,
commercials, everything is looking more cinematic. They have more contrast in lighting. It doesn't look like everything is lit. It doesn't look like your picture perfect frame. Some do. I can easily do that, but I was more interested in pushing the limit over there. But being first there, um, I had a lot of backlash. And then once people realized that, oh, wow, oh, Asif has more experience in it. Let me hire him for this project because now it's trendy, you know. So some trends set, when you set trends, you have the potential to um, basically be ahead where there is no race. And you're in a different track altogether, and the
you're
race
on your
is
own
happening
track.
over there. Right? And then slowly, but because you're already on the track, it's like Tesla. I mean, those electric cars were there for a long time. They stopped, for with the oil-based lobbying back in the 20s. But Tesla was the one which was doing it. I used to laugh at Tesla, and I was like, oh, what the hell? I still laugh at him. But the fact that I like Elon Musk is because even though he does greenwashing, uh, I think that's just the justification for people to be consumerists to buy new stuff.
Yeah,
Like if you tell me, hey, would you want to use a Android phone or an iPhone? or like a phone with less cobalt in it, I'll no, I have to get this because my competition uses this. They're always on
Right.
their phone. They can be quick with their business, and then I have to be always like, I don't, I need to sit down, find a laptop, then send my emails. I would rather have something that's fast and it's
On the
not,
phone.
I need the best to be competitive in the business. So there's no greenwashing in it. It's out there. You have to do it. So yeah, coming back to my point is that, uh, sometimes, but then when people start following you, you're already ahead of the game.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that's my 2 cents to why challenge is always good, and sometimes people need to get out of their comfort zone. It's always the case. Otherwise, you will always be behind
Yeah.
or working for somebody.
Yeah, but I
But
think
like I
there's.
said, I,
Do
I
you think
work
there's
for
certain amount
somebody
of
too.
comfort zone as well? Do you think there's a bit of comfort zone happening as well?
I mean, you know, if your lifestyle and your expectation of your reward is low, oh, what are you doing?
I'm joining my vlog.
Okay.
There you go.
Why?
My laptop died.
Ah, your laptop didn't have cobalt batteries in it.
Cobalt battery. Yeah. So now I moved to this area here. And your laptop died.
Oh,
I think the recording
you
is still
needed
on.
some,
Is it still on? The recording?
yeah, you,
Okay.
yeah, you should have exploited a little bit of that Congolese cobalt
The
in your
fucking thing just
laptop.
died, bro. So I just jumped right on that moment when it was about to die. I just jumped over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, coming back to the point is that uh, if we we are living between crony capitalists
Yeah.
who aren't you know uh, innovative, and
Yeah.
people who work for big companies who have access to a lot of money and a lot of credit because they have a stable job. The
Yeah.
banks love them. Hey, this guy works for big corporation. We can give
Yeah.
him whatever money he wants, and those people have no idea or want to work hard and start a new business and be creative. They like that comfort and that cushy life, so they want to sustain their lifestyle, their jobs, and then they have that money, that free money, and then they invest in the easiest thing they can do is what they do is buy stuff that everybody wants, which is a house. When they start buying stuff other people want, and that becomes scarce, you
Hmm.
know, because of all the free money, we go into what we call a recession, economic collapse that we are witnessing as we speak. I'm so happy to be mortgage free right now because I can only
Hmm.
imagine the amount of slavery that
Yeah.
people have to do, the amount of,
Oh man, talk about
yeah.
people. You gotta understand. Another thing is that when I got my first big gig, um, I have a friend. He's a house husband, and he told me, bro, just remember, you're gonna be now working with people who have $1 million mortgages. They will not think a second thought before trampling you because they need to pay their mortgages. So just remember that you're dealing with these kind of people now at work. And I was like, well, I mean, it was so astonishing when he told me that. I never thought about it until that very point. And the thing is this, right? That's what's going on. When you switch on the money printer, it literally destroys culture. It's destroying culture.
Yeah.
It's destroying our way of life, whether it's Australian life, Indian life, or American life, every way of life. It's destroying. And it changes the way you consume food. You're eating garbage. You're living in sleeping pods, shoebox style houses. It's creating shortages everywhere. And the list goes on and on. But the problem is, it is so hard to make people understand that that is what's causing it. You
You
talk to
can't.
them, they blame Russia. You talk to them, they blame politicians. I mean, politicians, of course, are to blame. They're the ones who switch on the money printer. But the thing is that the the politician is switching on the money printer because the money printer exists. If you get rid of the money printer,
Not
right?
just that. Not just
Yeah,
that. They're switching on the money printer because people are gullible
correct.
and dumb.
And people want handouts.
Because
It's a perpetual cycle. People love fucking free shit. They want money. They do not want to create value. They just want their money. They want to sit on their beach house. They want to have five fucking houses. They want to live a life of debt. I think I sent you that clip, right, where the guy said that, in 2007, our entire global debt was about 130 something trillion. Okay, that's 137 trillion. Now it's like close to 300 something. It's ridiculous. In a
who do
in
we owe money to?
No, no. So that's the thing. Yeah, yeah. It's the money printer. You, the almighty money printer.
But,
Yeah,
oh,
to
but
ourselves.
who are
Yeah,
we owing money to?
it will go into quadrillion. It's definitely going to quadrillion. It'll go. It'll cross 1,000 trillion eventually, very soon. And I saw a chart a while back.
I refuse to live like that, man. I refuse to live like that, and I feel there are a lot of people who are seeing this, especially with the COVID nonsense that happened, and people had to take something. They were coerced to take something that they didn't want to take it,
Hmm.
but the government and the companies, they all say, hey, if you don't take this, you're not allowed to come into the park, or you can't go to a restaurant. And those people with the mortgages had to take it because they had no choice. Many did, many didn't, many didn't, but did, you know. And here we are. And it's, it was writing on the wall that this is happening. But slaves will be slaves.
Slaves will be
I
slaves. Yeah, sheep will be sheep. Sheeple.
Yeah, but like at least know you're a slave. That's all.
Yeah. So I think, as I was about to just mention, there's a chart. I mean, I'm on the phone now. I can't pull it up, but the chart, I saw it a while back. I think a year or 2 years ago, when they started money printing. The chart basically explicitly mentions that every time they do a quantitative easing, this whole money printing, the official government terminology for this is quantitative easing. Every time they do
Yeah.
quantitative easing and they print money, the to fix whatever is broken or whatever they need to fix. When they do that quantitative easing, the next quantity easing, it needs to be much much bigger to create the same impact. So if you printed $1 trillion now, you need to print maybe more than 2 trillion or 1.5 trillion, or at least a double, to get to that point, because they've looked at every time they did the money printing to bring back the stock market, everything, to save the big banks to do the bailouts. They did this much printing. Then the next time it happened, they did this much, and then when 2008 happened, that was a very big one. And now this one, they printed the entire, on the next crisis. In this crisis, that the COVID crisis happened, questionable. But when the COVID crisis happened, the amount of money printing they did was more than 50% of the entire amount of money that was floating in the economy. So if you had $100, they went ahead and printed $70 again. I mean, it sounds like a very small thing, but it's a huge thing to bring the economy or the stock market, everything back to where it was. And even then, it's like a sugar rush.
But
It's like an insulin kind of a thing. You're addicted now. It's a
you know
health
who
addiction.
lost? But who lost? People who had money.
Yeah, yeah. I lost. Yeah,
People who didn't have money.
yeah,
People didn't have money. They didn't have money.
yeah. I know. Yeah, the people who had money. So I think it's the one who's trying to race to the top. The middle class is the one who's suffered the most because they have a lot of cash they're holding and they don't have that many assets. And the one who have the assets are the ones who got rich because I mean, man, if you're already rich, all you gotta do is just sit tight till the next crisis. If you have, like, say,
Yeah.
5 houses, just sit tight till the next crisis. The property prices of those houses will go up again even more. Man, I have people
So
who told me that I want
mm,
printing to continue. Like, I want some inflation so that my houses go up. That's how they
yeah.
think, bro. You talk to them and you think to yourself, like, and they said that no, it'll save our children. I said no, it will not save your children. If you think that these properties, when you sell them and you pass it on your kids are gonna not have to go through the same cycle that a person like me or a normal person is going through. You're wrong. You're sorry. You're mistaken there. They have no idea.
So the only reason these properties stay high, especially in countries like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, is because of immigration. So more immigrants come in. So right now in Canada, they just started that, hey, you don't even need to be a PR holder. You can come here on a work permit and buy a house. The, all you need is a job. Once you have a job, you can just buy a house. So the people who come
Hmm.
here, they get a cushy job. They would just go, oh, here's my $150,000 job for 2 years. I can show that I have a contract, and these guys will give us the money to buy a house.
Yeah.
And it's like it will never stop. Uh, so the other problem is people who have made it,
Yeah.
they're still in the rat race.
Yeah.
They should be homesteading, building something, building backups, building parallel economies. But they are still in the rat race. So yeah, eventually I feel that uh, someone like me, I'm I'm done.
What about
This
so?
is stupid.
I think just to wrap this whole thing up, today we actually went down the path of, and even the list is on the phone. The only thing I can remember is, dude, a lot of scams. A lot of scams and AI-based scams have started. I got a call from Pakistan. Check out the scam,
Hmm.
right? And then we'll move to Trump.
Okay.
Because that's the only thing I remember. I want to talk to you about a couple of things, but it's on the list, and fucking have
Trump.
to get out of the call to look at the list. Don't worry about it. So, believe the best for last time.
Hey.
AI scams. So, I got a call from some kid in Pakistan who so told me, sir, if you have a mortgage, any kind of bills that you pay those bills to us, but we'll give you 30% off. So if you got $100 bill,
Mm.
water bill, you pay 70.
Okay.
And I said, well, how do you,
Wow.
I mean, like then, so what happens to my original bill? He said, we will pay your original bill, and then you just need to
Wow.
pay us the 70% of it. So if you have $1,000
Hmm.
to pay, you just pay us $700. We take care of the rest. It
Wow.
was such a sophisticated
How
scam.
how does that work?
They said that they have vouchers. They sell energy and they sell water to when they sell energy, gas, and everything to other companies. I mean, from other companies, they sign people up, so they get all these vouchers, and they're happy to pass on these vouchers as a discount to your to apply to your bill. It's a very sophisticated scam because here they do get those kind of vouchers every time you sign up. They give you $100 off or $200 off of your bill, right? And yeah, and dude, once, and I was just wanting to see how far can I take this scam, So I played along, and I was talking to this kid, and I said, well, I don't. He said, would you like to know how we do it? What's our process? I said, I don't really care as long as I'm saving money. So let's make it happen. Let's see how you guys save me money. And then he said, oh, I'm going to hand it down to my team leader, and my team leader will help you out. And I was like, okay, so another lead scammer picked up. Desi tha wo. And from his accent, I could tell he's from Pakistan. Usually I get calls from India, but this time was a Pakistani one. So it piqued my interest,
Hello, sir.
Yeah. And yeah, hello sir, kaise hain aap? Stuff like that. And and then he said, can I have your details? And then I said, there you go. So I started giving it to him, and then
What?
I hanged up. I just told him my name and I hanged up. Dude, those guys, they called me for the last week every day, and even today while I was having a chat with you, they called me, and they called me from different numbers from all over Australia, landline. from a
Wow.
landline number. Yeah. So once they get a hold of you, yeah. I mean, the amount of data that has been leaked, the amount of hacks that have happened, my information is already
Mm.
floating in cyberspace, bro. They have my date of birth, they have my name, they have all the information they need. So they contact me all the time trying to sell me shit, you know. And these scams are not all AI based. They're very sophisticated. They know a lot of information about you. So you get a call and it's from a robot. The robot tells you that this call is from this and this department. We're trying to save you money. If you like to save money on your energy bill, please press one. You press one, and then some kid picks it up in Pakistan.
Wow.
So they don't even waste time in calling you, bro. They get a robot to call you, and then if you buy into that scam, you press one, then there's a person. So it's a proper shop, bro. They have a life, they have kids, you know, they probably have troubles of their own, you know. They gotta get a sister married off, or they have a fucking, you know, what do you call a pushy husband or a pushy wife, you know, an asshole husband, maybe an asshole, and they have the same
Circle
problems
of
as us.
life.
Yeah, circle of life. And to them, and they probably have targets, they have KPIs, you know, they have to come to work and see, all right, how many people you scammed today? Oh, you know, Ahmed, you scammed a lot of people today. Good, you know, we'll get you a medal, get him a fucking plaque or something. You can put it on the table.
Bonus.
You know, bonus. Here you go. You get a bonus this month. ये देखो कितना अच्छा
Always
employee
be
है.
closing.
You always be closing.
Always
Yeah,
be
yeah. And he probably has employee of the
ABC.
month plaque somewhere, you know. There's probably a KPI board or an Excel sheet, you know, with his name on it कि देखो ये बंदा यार ये बंदा गन है, ये बंदा मस्त है, ये इतना पैसा हमारे लिए बना रहा है, इसको एक
Uh,
टिकट देंगे हम लोग फिलीपींस का, ये जाए जाके फिलीपींस घूम के आए, या थाईलैंड का टिकट देंगे उसको. Like that, you know, like that's what's going on, you know. They buy him a fucking new iPhone, maybe imported from Dubai or some shit like that. You know, like that's what's going on. So
yeah.
yeah, I guess circle of life. So anyway, moving from all of that, that was a short one.
So I have the
Trump,
notes.
bro.
I have
You
the
have the
notes.
notes for
I
okay.
have the note.
Okay, what else is there?
So there's Barry White,
Barry White, the
North
singer.
Koreans.
Yeah.
Who's Barry White? I don't
Barry
know.
White, there's a singer. I mean, I need this. We'll leave this for the next episode because I need to share with you
Oh yeah.
a clip. You know,
Oh,
he's a guy.
okay.
He's like there's a bit of a joke. His name is Barry White, but he's a black guy, and he's like this smooth romantic singer. He sings all these cheesy, corny songs. And he has an interview
Okay.
with Conan, and he has an interview with David Letterman and all that. He was one of those classic singers, you know. And he had this brooding voice and everything. Like he was very famous, you know. He had
Oh,
this
okay.
baritone voice, like
Um,
you know. Yeah. So anyway, we'll talk about it later. We'll
out of
go
my
through that.
radar.
Yeah.
So yeah, what about Trump?
Um, I think that Chris Rock comment about turning it, that's what's happening now. So Chris Rock mentioned that don't attack him because the more you attack him, the more you kind of glorify him. Now, by
He's
putting an
gonna sell more
indictment,
records like Tupac.
like the
Are
more,
you stupid?
yeah, now he's been indicted, dude. It is a change. It changes everything. The game is completely changed. The political landscape of how you
He got free advertisement.
free advertisement. It has now created a legacy, a dynasty for his
Uh,
entire
the-
family.
Dude, you know what?
His
They
kids are
have
watching this shit right now, and they're like, "Look what they're doing to
no,
my dad." You know that 16-year-old, that
not just
15-year-old.
that, not
Yeah,
just okay. Leave that feudalist fucking mindset, Punjabi,
yeah. He's coming.
Khandani
He's
mindset.
coming. I'm telling you, bro.
मैं
This is gonna
बड़ा
be like the
हुई
Kennedys. This thing is gonna be just like the Kennedys. You know?
but check this out. They don't want to release his mugshots. Do you know how much that mugshot,
Oh yeah, it'll be
that
golden, bro.
real mugshot?
People will take a photograph of that, put it into a golden frame, hang it.
There's a comedian.
Yeah,
He's a Canadian comedian. He's
yeah, yeah,
based in New York now. His name is Danny Polchnik. He does like these culture jamming videos. So
yeah.
he basically makes these social media posts acting like, when Elon Musk became the Twitter CEO, he was acting like one of those guys who got
Mm-hmm.
fired or who
Mm-hmm.
left Twitter and hates Elon Musk. So people
Mm-hmm.
believe him. It's like, oh, look at this guy, this poor guy. So he made a video about this gold coin with Trump being,
Like an AI
with
video or
AI
something.
generate.
Yeah.
No, no, it's like a gold coin with inscription or like a design of Trump being indicted. That
Oh,
would be like, yeah, that a lot of
Terrible
Republicans will be
sound.
like, this is when America went third world,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, look,
because that's what
what?
everybody's saying.
Yeah, it is exactly third world. I mean, if you look at what they did with the now the Sharifs in Pakistan, what's happening with Rahul Gandhi right now, in India. Uh, I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but you can see that every time there's an election, people in power, bro. I mean, it literally tells you there's a deep state involved. It's not even deep enough. It's not deep. Deep means that you're so deep that you cannot see the hand that is making the change. Here you can see everything. They're doing it in the fucking open, bro. They're doing it in the open. FBI is involved. Every agency you can think of, every normal public agency is involved in trying to, I mean, and they're open about it. And when you talk to uh, I talk to my lefty colleagues, right? The way they talk about it, they're like, yeah, good, he got charged all these felonies. And I said, do you even know what the felonies are? He said, oh yeah, he's been charged
No,
for rape and stuff like that. I was like, dude, like, think about it. Like,
what?
do you think? Yeah, it's the PBD podcast. No,
Yeah,
he's not been charged for rape, but there are felonies that are much more, it is harsher. I mean, the felonies that he's been charged for, they are in that area, like murder, rape, and that kind of stuff. Like they pulled a small, what is a misdemeanor? Is that what they call it? Misdemeanor, I can't pronounce it.
fucking
Misdemeanor
laws, I hate
to
them.
they take a small misdemeanor, something that should be a simple felony. They've kind of upgraded it to make it sound, and to land it as if it's, to make it a more harsher penalty. I think we have to look deeper into it. But the PBD podcast, there's an emergency PBD podcast that they did, and I like this guy. He's not bad. White hair, a bit more older gentleman. He sits on the right side, the far right side, and he does all the.
Canadian guy.
I think he's Canadian, yeah, and he does all the analysis for all the numbers, and he's mostly the.
He's like an uncle,
He's a bit of an
straight
uncle, yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah. He's straight kind of a guy, right? And he did his analysis. He went through all the felonies and he looked at it, right? And so basically, they discussed it deeply. But apart from all the felonies, and everything, you got a former president, bro, and you're now charging him with all this. I think someone is standing outside and they want to get in, but fuck off, don't worry. And um, yeah, yeah, but by doing all of this, right, they have set a new precedent. Any president who's in power, just like Venezuela or Turkey or any of these other democracies, we can't even call them democracies anymore. But so-called democracies, they have actually used power, working with the deep state, working with the military, working with other agencies in their country to squash the other narrative, whatever the other opinion on the other side, the political parties are, right? So that means you have a one-party system now. That's what it is. And the thing
No, I mean
with
two parties is one party system anyways.
yeah. So now if you look, there's no left and
There's
right,
this
bro.
meme. There's this meme. These real wives meme, like she's getting angry and there's a cat on the
Oh
other
yeah,
side.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah. They reuse it for so many different things.
it's like,
Um, so
yeah.
I
So
think
he's this. There was this caption saying, "Oh, you don't believe in democracy," and the cat's like, "Oh, even gang rape is democracy."
and I think that yeah. So I think that he's created this now definitely because of counterculture, whatever you want to call it. First of all, I think I did not have, I was not somebody who looked up to Trump. I still don't. But one thing I can respect is that he, at that age, is able to handle so much stress. Imagine the amount of stress
But
you
he's
are
not
in,
stressed.
and the humiliation. No, no,
Can I
he's not.
say something?
Yeah, but on the inside, he might be stressed, but he's not showing it. What I'm saying is that
He's
the way,
not.
you
No,
think so?
no.
He's not stressed.
Can I say something?
He's
Dude,
not taking this thing
look
seriously.
at.
The whole indictment.
He's not. Dude, he doesn't have to. He's a made man.
He's a bogus. This whole thing is bogus charges.
Dude,
They are bogus charges.
he's a made man. People respect him a lot. Lot of people respect him. So he if you look at the way he handles things, he's not even like even reacting. Like he went to the place, then he does his speech. He's like, yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah,
Mm.
another day. because
Yeah,
he
but I think
knows
that
because
he's
because
definitely
he
creating a
has so
dynasty
much
now.
money.
Yeah,
Because he has so much money,
hundreds of
a
millions of
lot of
dollars now.
people put a lot of people are gonna put money behind him,
They are.
and he
He
has
already got
lawyers
$10 million donation just after that
in 4 hours. But
in 4 hours, which is
the kind of
unbelievable.
lawyers he has, access to lawyers, it's amazing, dude. If I had that much money, I would keep a lawyer on like
Yeah.
I will calculate how many hours of the day are there that I'm working. If there are 10 hours of a day, and if I have to pay $4,000 a day to a lawyer to stand next to me just to give me counsel, like if I'm a billionaire, right? The 10 hours I work, I need a lawyer next to me as an assistant. You
Mm.
come work for me, I'll pay you good money, stay next to me, make sure whatever comes out of my mouth, I don't even want to talk.
You speak for me. You speak for me. Yeah, yeah.
I, I, I will write something and say this, and you speak because I don't want to talk.
You
That
don't want
now
to deal
that's
with
some
government.
gangster
Yeah,
shit.
that gangster shit. Yeah.
That's some gangster shit. Even business, dude. Even business. I'm currently in some kind of a situation where I have to talk to lawyers, and I was like, it's the
Mm.
best. I see the value in
Mm.
having a lawyer because sometimes dealing with people is like, I can deal with anybody. I'm a very reasonable person. I talk like, I'm because I know I'm not in the wrong. If I keep myself not in the wrong, have less ego and shit like that, I talk to everybody. So, especially if it's about business. But when people don't talk to you and stuff like that because of their
Yeah. There's
ego
a reason why
issues
you
or
need
what,
lawyers
yeah.
because the government is so big. The bigger the government, the bigger the
No,
lawyers you need. Yeah.
you need lawyers so that you can basically legally threaten people and get shit done the
Mm.
right way.
Mm.
That's it. I don't want to go and pay some fucking lawyer money. But if you're not being reasonable, my henchman,
Yeah.
which is a lawyer,
Will come for
is
you.
gonna have a yeah, they will communicate with you,
Yeah.
and
That's what they mean when they
let's
say my people will talk to your people, isn't
yeah, because let's see who's got more money. That
it?
it's all about that.
Yeah.
If I have more money
Yeah.
and you have more money, and let's see who can win this. So you want to go into a stupid battle? Let's see who's got more money, because
Yeah, but
I'm
the
right.
yeah, but the weird part is this, right? If he does not, it's not. I don't know whether it's weird or not, but what's going to happen is, first of all, it's created this dynasty. What they did not want exactly, it's happened. It's kind of weird in sense that they're trying to put him down, trying to stop him, but at the same time, if not this
It's a
time,
yin. It's a
so
yin and yang, dude.
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
need to understand. It's a law of the
Because his
universe.
children now
It
have a
will.
complete advantage in the future to come in and start their own campaigns in the future. He's created a dynasty for himself, like the Kennedys now. They haven't. I mean, their kids now can completely reliably, the daughter and the youngest son, which I think is 15 or 13 years. I don't know how young he is, but he's pretty young. He is obviously going to have a career in politics, and they will just carry this flag that the father is carrying. But thing is that all these charges, when they get dropped or they win the case, what happens then? You think the people on the left or people who hate Trump because of personality or
Mhm.
hate the party, what they're gonna say that our system is broken,
Dude,
or they're
can I
gonna
say
say that
something?
he's so corrupt that he was able to bypass it? Like people still not mentally, they're still not gonna accept the idea that he.
People are Trump. Most people are Trump. They hate the fact that he can be himself and say whatever the fuck he wants. And most people can't do that. People hate you for that. It's like when you see an entrepreneur and you're doing a 9 to 5 job, right? Most on 9 to 5ers will be like, I hate the subcontractor who comes to the job because he's not in. He's not on a payroll with the company. He's not technically on a payroll, but he's a subcontractor. He comes here for 6 months. He makes three times the money I make, and he gets away with whatever the hell he wants to do. And I have to reply, oh, I have to,
Do
yeah, I'm
KPIs.
a subordinate to, yeah. So the other person who's working for a business will always hate the free person. So most people think like him, they agree with him, but they would not, they hate him because he has the balls to be what he is. And that's what it is. I'm telling you, man, it's all about public perception. But a lot of people, a lot of young generation, a lot of people with a conservative background and even democratic background, a lot of people who are like based, like do you know
Middle
about
America.
based? No, based, no, no, no. Based in reality. There's something called based. So if someone's based in reality, who's not delusional. So if you're delusional, you're a clown. But if you're based in reality, you're based. So most people are based.
Hmm.
And people who are based, they get it. It doesn't matter all of them. Like Joe Rogan is a based person, even though he's not a conservative, right? Um, Jimmy Dore is a leftist, but he's based. You get what I mean? He's a leftist. Like I see corruption here and I see corruption there too. You know,
Hmm.
so people who see corruption on both sides are based people. So because he's based,
You mean opposite of biased?
most, huh?
Opposite of biased.
Yeah, it's like based. It's like you're based in reality.
Yeah, yeah. They're basically looking at,
This is a
yeah,
new slang.
yeah. It's a new
So it's
thing.
like in
It's
North
based.
America, yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
based.
it's based. Like if somebody says, this thing is shit, or this the Trump is like there are a lot of young black people in America, and the people ask, these people with the microphones, they go and ask people on the street, hey, what do you think about? So there are people's like, okay, the girl is 10,
Hmm.
but she voted for Biden. Would you date her? Hell no, Nick. Hell
Hmm.
no, man. Hell no.
Hmm.
She ain't based. I don't want to do
Based.
that. But
Okay.
Biden, fuck. Biden's messing with Trump for life, brother. Trump for life. Yo. So there are people, so young people who have no power, no money, no say. They're not playing politics. Probably don't even give a fuck about voting, right? They're just people living life.
Hmm.
They like Trump. They just don't like they don't want to go. Like I don't want to go for voting because whatever. Most people don't go for voting.
Hmm.
It's the people who play the game, or have so much to lose. They go for voting. When you have nothing to lose, you go, what the hell? I don't care. But we are coming to a point where people are like, hey, if we do not go and vote Trump in,
Hmm.
this is gonna get worse than COVID
Hmm.
because it's
Hmm.
just getting worse. Young people need family, you know,
I agree.
like you were saying, people need role models.
Yeah.
So my wife shared a picture and like something from school. My second child, Isa, I want to start a robotic company. I want to have kids. I want to become a billionaire. I'm like, oh my God, this guy sounds like
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's what kids are into. Kids are into Elon Musk, bro.
But he doesn't like Elon Musk. And he's an 8-year-old. He doesn't like Elon Musk because all the videos he's watching on YouTube is like, oh, Tesla's are not, it's dangerous. Don't buy Tesla, Dad. But
They're catching fire.
but hey, but in the head, he's based. He's based
Hmm.
because he sees having children is a good idea. Robots are the future. Being rich is a good idea than not being rich because I can do whatever the hell I want.
Hmm.
Right? So, If this person wasn't, if this kid was just, if his parents were not based, this person would never say, I want to be a billionaire.
Hmm.
Like, think about it. If you're a billionaire, you know how much good you can do to the world and people around you? Imagine there's a billionaire everywhere. But but that's not possible because it's against the law of the universe. It cannot be. There will be billionaires everywhere. Only I'm just hoping that good people become billionaires, you know? But if there's billionaires everywhere, then we fucking live in banana republic
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
money has no value. You can be a trillionaire, but everybody is a trillionaire. Uh-oh, you're
Hmm.
fucked. So, it's what's gonna happen now? It's like I said, Dave Chappelle said it, Chris Rock is saying it. These guys are closeted Trump supporters, you know. I'm telling you,
Even
there are
Elon
a
Musk,
lot
you
of
think, is a
people out there.
closet Trump supporter? Definitely. After this, they are.
Everybody,
After this indictment thing, definitely there's going to be a lot of closet supporters.
everybody is gonna support Trump. You will see Trump in 2024. This is my prediction. I might be wrong if they play some other
Yeah,
game,
and the other thing is that
but the
even
way
if he
things,
win, I think for him winning is important because if he wins, he gets that 4 years, and then DeSantis is definitely in line. And he's amazing, bro. I watched his talk 3 weeks ago that he talked about DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. He talks about how it's come here to get killed in Florida. And there's a whole 1 hour talk that he gives with other people on the panel. I mean, thing is that he's a straight shooter. I mean, dude, he is more digestible. Let's just say that. Trump is a gangster. He's
yeah, but
insane. Once he goes out, I think if he endorses DeSantis, then there's a
the problem is
yeah,
the problem with DeSantis is he's 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 supported by warmongers,
yeah,
neocons. So lot of people who support Trump, a lot of Americans like Kid Rock, they will not support because
well, thing
Americans don't
it
want
can
war.
change though. Just remember, if Trump is, let's say, anti-war for 4 years, and people get used to the idea of being anti-war for the next 4 years, and it becomes a popular topic, then DeSantis who comes in, they need to carry that. If they don't, they will lose votes. It's all about voting now.
It's impossible. COVID was a good example of how media can manipulate people
Hmm.
into believing in something that wasn't there to the level that they were bullshitting. And even if it was true, something,
Hmm.
m- people were not willing to believe it. And the fact that it happened shows that if someone like DeSantis comes and they do a propaganda on the public's gonna sway towards whatever is okay. And the people behind DeSantis or people who are part of the DeSantis gang are those people. It's like the
Hmm.
Bushes and all those people. Trump is something else, man. Trump is a fucking G. Like you can't fuck with that guy.
Yeah,
Even
but
though
in the
I'm
next
like,
four or
I
five
don't.
years, what I'm saying is, in the next 4 or 5 years, the base that supports Trump.
You know who should who should be after Trump? Rand Paul. You know Rand
Um,
Paul?
I think it's about time we need young
You
blood
know
in,
Rand?
in White House. Yeah, I know Rand Paul. The
No,
thing is,
no, not Ron Paul. Not Ron Paul.
Rand Paul.
Rand
Oh,
Paul.
okay, okay, okay.
His
Yeah, yeah,
son.
that guy, his son. Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
son
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a time to have
who
young people. Yeah, but he is much more less government than what Trump is. So I think there are a lot of people, dude. I think it takes baby steps to go. The amount of time it took to create big government, now to reverse it, it'll also take a long time. You know, the big government happened in the last 30, 40 years.
it's very it's very easy.
It's, you
Just
know,
shut it down.
yeah, I know,
You know,
but people coming in like
there's a
Rand Paul is
joke.
gonna come and he's gonna be like,
This
well, we're gonna make everything private, or he'll go completely capitalistic. It'll not work. People not be able to digest that. I think they need baby steps. So I think Trump's
I
idea
I
was the
think
most far that you can go. Trump pushed the envelope for change, you see,
Hey, but can I be
as far
real?
as possible. Yeah.
All the quantitative easing, Trump said to Powell, the guy who runs Federal Reserve, to print more money.
Yeah. Yeah. He
He
did the
did.
quantity. Yeah, he did the quantity easing, but
So
it has
people
contained.
forget it.
Yeah, but they printed another $1 trillion under what do you call Mr. Biden as well. You understand? Biden came in and he printed a lot of money as well.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that who this
Printing will
idea,
continue
this notion that
no matter who comes into power.
no, this notion that Trump comes in power, DeSantis comes in power, and there will be anti-war sentiment is stupid. I don't believe in it. I think the leader matters. Ron DeSantis might be great right now, but believe me, he is a Trojan horse. I like him
Mm.
for what he's doing for Florida, but it won't be good for the rest of the world
The
because
other one
he's.
is what? Nikki Haley, or I think Hale something. She's also, I mean, whatever. I
I
mean,
said
Joe
I
Rogan,
said
I think, said in one of
2028 Rand Paul.
Joe Rogan, I think he said that he would not mind. He really likes Tulsi Gabbard. Gabbard, yeah, that's her name. Um, I don't know, man. There's a lot of them. But
But
anyway,
she's a Democrat.
but the main thing is this. Yeah, but the main thing is this, right? All these people in America, whatever happens, one of my uncles, he said it in a very good way. He said if they get a cold, we sneeze, right? So the problem is that in Western countries,
Yeah,
Canada, UK, even Europe, and especially New Zealand, Australia, we are so heavily tied into that economy, the British and the
right.
American, North American economy, that they make anything, any move, it has an impact on us. So whoever, if they decide, if the right way of thinking prevails in America, Australia will have a complete. Australia will go from being a socialist to a liberal voted country straight away. It's all about what's in fashion at the moment. At the moment, it's in fashion, bro. To include everybody, to have diversity, and
No,
I
you
really
should
want to
include
name drop
everybody.
the but on meritocracy, merit. Not like not just because you have a certain skin color and you come from some background, we should put you there.
Yeah, that's
That's bullshit. There is actually, I'll name drop and then we'll wrap this up. There's a guy, James Lindsay. James Lindsay. He's actually, he's been on Joe
by
Rogan a few times. And he's been,
oh,
I think,
okay.
once or twice on Joe Rogan. Dude, he has a channel. The small clip that Bodhu put on our chat, which talks about Mao and unity. I listened to that 4-minute clip and it was really good. He has done a 3-part lecture on his own channel. His channel name is Discourse, New Discourse. He writes books as well. He's got this book that is in the Marxism of the education system. Okay, and he completely dismantles the diversity, equity, inclusion thing. In 3 lectures, he talks about that basically it's Marxism. And to summarize that clip, that 4-minute clip, uh, his name is Mao and Unity. You can look it up on YouTube. What it talks about is that in Mao's time, what he did is he said we need to have inclusion and diversity,
Re-education.
get everybody in to the group, and once they're in the group and they're all going, then you change the policy.
Never re-educate them.
Just re-educate them. So the whole idea is to bring everybody in, and nowadays they're doing that in corporations, they're doing that in government, they're doing that in schools, they're doing it everywhere. They're basically teaching Marxism to children. They're doing Marxism at work, and the only
Not my
reason
children.
the only reason that it's not happening in Twitter, yeah, my children are at school, yeah, but it'll start, so I need to figure something out. But the only reason that it is not happening in places like it's been happening at Twitter for so long. So you can feel that why Twitter became the way it is, and now Elon's coming and trying to change that. And the only reason why Tesla still is performing is not just that they're making cars. Cars is just an output of how the company behaves or thinks. The philosophy and culture of the company reflects in the product, right? If there are all these phone companies, why can't they make a phone like Apple, right? They've had 14 iPhones come out and there's still nobody's fucking catching up. Why, right? So I think that um, Yeah, bro. Dangerous times ahead. Um,
Ah,
yeah, there's a Mel Gibson
I don't
movie.
think so.
You, what do you think is gonna happen?
See, the universe has balance, and the COVID was a very good example when the balance was off, like completely. And the truckers in Canada, when they went in the minus 20 degrees to Ottawa to basically prove to the world that it's all BS, the balance changed. The balance changed, and now you will see that there will be a balance. There
Mm,
will always be a balance. The biggest problem right now, that what I feel, is that the dollar is gonna collapse.
yeah,
But when the dollar
India and
collapses,
Malaysia now
that's when
they're getting along. Yeah.
that's when all these leftists will wake up and see reality, because it will affect their pocketbook, their cushy jobs, and their mortgages. When things get away from them, then when people start actually taking your shit,
Mm,
like, oh, come on, you like sharing stuff with everybody?
yeah. Mm.
Okay, now share it with me. I'll take your fucking shit. That's when people will be like, oh, what the fuck? Then you will see the same people. So what my theory is, the conservatives back in the 60s, the conservative types, the liberals have become the new conservative types
Mm.
because they are in power,
Mm.
right? And it's a swap. So they are the Bob Dylan
You mean the
song.
liberals have
Times they
become
are changing.
neocons?
So look at that Neil Young fuck, the Canadian, the guy who made the song, "Rockin' in the Free World." That fucking guy was telling to shut down free speech. The fucker made songs about rocking in the free world. For what? So these people who play the party stuff and they make money, a lot of money, and they have their allegiance to
Yeah,
political
in
parties.
Pakistan, we call them lota. You know, they move from one
The
party to another. Yeah,
Lotas,
the lotas. They're all lotas.
yes.
Yeah,
And then you will see, like Dave Rubin is a Lota, by the way. Be very careful
yeah.
of him. Because Dave Rubin used to be used to be lefty, and then he got schooled by, I don't know who schooled him. I forgot his name, but somebody schooled him.
No, back in
Um,
the day, I think he went on Joe Rogan's podcast as well, and he got schooled over there as well.
no, no, no. So he got schooled by someone, and that's
Bill
when
Maher,
he was like, "Oh, huh?
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. Even Bill Maher. Look
Bill
at Bill
Maher
Maher.
also used to
Bill
be
Maher
the
is a very
yeah.
now you see Bill Maher is like
Same thing with
his
Russell Brand.
podcast
Russell
and
Brand also used to be a kind of a socialist greenie. Most British comedians are kind of socialist greenies, you know.
no, but Russell Brand was like Jimmy Dore.
Yeah.
Like they were already like not part of the establishment. They were anti-establishment. Bill Maher was establishment. It still is establishment. But nobody who's
He's got to
coming to
keep his
him
show,
is
man.
agreeing
So,
with.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like oh, with Russell Brand as well. He was like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah, yeah. Come on,
but
take it
this, come
easy. Like,
on,
yeah.
but Putin
Yeah.
is a good guy. It's like, yeah, nobody here is a good guy.
Yeah.
The reason we are having the problem is because we think that this guy is good. No, this guy is bad. That guy is bad too. Why are we suffering for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let them fight. Let them have the fucking problem. I'm suffering for it. I'm not a Ukrainian. I'm not a Russian.
Mm, mm.
I'm a Canadian. Why am I suffering for this shit? So I think Jimmy Dore, Russell Brand, they were anti-establishment anyways. Bill Maher, I think Bill Maher, once he realized that people were watching more Joe Rogan
Yeah.
than him, he made the change. Even Russell Brand, he went to Joe Rogan 5, 6 years ago. He was he was a little bit egoistic, and then when he went to Joe Rogan, he got he got the he got he got a little school, and then he changed his mindset. He's like, okay, why are we hating each other? The main thing is hate. So these people, in my opinion, the thing with Trump, they just hate his personality because he's so egoistic, narcissistic,
Mm.
right? And he's open about it. He does not care. He's like,
Yeah,
I'm the best. I did the best. No,
yeah,
and people hate that. But the fact is, he's the only one willing to stand up against these guys.
yeah.
So he's a fucking G. Everybody knows it. And I think it's a clear cut. The way things is going, 20, dude, I went to a stand-up show of Bill Burr in Toronto. First row seating and everything. Uh, fucking Bill Burr says, you know that Trump's gonna win 2024.
Mm.
And this was last year's June.
Mm.
Everybody knows it. This is just like a facade to make everybody feel okay with the idea that he's gonna win, and everybody will kind of agree with him. So if he wins, it's like the delusion is to break the delusion. They have to do this, in my opinion, because it's fucking bullshit. Now he's gonna become the hero. He's gonna be Tupac. He's
So
gonna
you
sell
think that
more
they're
albums.
purposely doing it to get him to win?
I'm not gonna say
Are
anything
we
like that.
living in a simulation? All right, bro.
Having said that, but the fact that it's happening, everybody knows it. It's stupid. Like a person on the street knows this. Don't you think these people know it? Or people who are running the show? Think it.
I think the idea is that if they can
So
create a felony against him, even one, it'll disqualify him from running. That's the whole thing. That's what my idea. I mean, that's what my understanding is. That's what they're trying to do.
there's nothing. There's nothing. It's stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
And they
nothing
created a
wrong he did
dynasty.
there.
He's going to just sell more records. All right.
He's gonna be fucking Tupac. Why Tupac?
Yeah, yeah. All right. Gotta go, man.
Alright, buddy.
See you,
You
man.
too.
Have a good one. Bye.
See you, buddy. You too. Bye.